On August 31, 2026, the executive who oversaw the rise of a $4 trillion empire officially steps down. Tim Cook's departure marks the conclusion of a 15-year tenure that saw Apple's valuation grow by nearly 2,000%, turning a hardware company into a global financial fortress. Yet, this transition arrives at a moment of profound technical vulnerability. Despite their wealth, Apple is trailing in the generative AI race, with rivals like Google and Microsoft already deploying sophisticated large language models. Meanwhile, Siri, once a pioneer, remains a source of public frustration, highlighting a growing gap between Apple's hardware dominance and its software capabilities. The person chosen to close this gap is John Ternus. A mechanical engineer by training, Ternus joined Apple in 2001 and built a career focusing on the physics of the products, displays, enclosures, and the transition to Apple Silicon. He is described by insiders as a real engineer, someone who prefers the granular details of hardware over the high-level abstractions of software services. Elevating a hardware specialist to the CEO role signals a shift in Apple's survival strategy. Recognizing that they have lost the first round of the AI software war, Apple is moving to consolidate its power within the one domain it still controls entirely, the integrated physical device. This leadership change represents the third distinct phase in the company's evolution. Under Steve Jobs, the focus was the initial act of creation. He established the original borders of the ecosystem, defining the product categories, from the Mac to the iPhone, that would form the foundation of everything that followed. Tim Cook took those foundational designs and optimized them for global scale. He built a supply chain so efficient it could generate $140 billion in a single holiday quarter, expanding the brand into every corner of the globe, while aggressively growing the software services revenue. Now, John Ternus is tasked with a different objective: deep technical refinement. His track record includes pushing for the iPad software to match the power of its hardware and overseeing the development of the MacBook Neo, a device that balances high-end performance with a price point designed to maximize market penetration. While his predecessors focused on establishing the map and scaling the economy, Ternus is being positioned to fortify the infrastructure. In an era where software intelligence is becoming a commodity, Apple is betting that the physical integration of that intelligence is the only way to remain indispensable. To achieve this, Ternus has begun stripping away the speculative projects that defined the later years of the Cook era. Despite Apple's massive valuation, internal focus has been fractured by expensive attempts to enter entirely new industries. The most prominent failure was the $10 billion effort to build a self-driving car. For a decade, the project consumed engineering talent and corporate capital, only to be canceled when the technical challenges proved insurmountable for a company built on consumer electronics. The Vision Pro headset represents a similar struggle. While it is a masterpiece of engineering, it has struggled to find a foothold in the real-world market, largely because it lacks the immediate utility that makes a product a daily necessity. Insiders note that Ternus was a vocal skeptic of both the car and the headset long before they stalled. He argued that these projects were drains on the company's core engineering resources, pulling focus away from the iterative improvements that users actually value. His promotion marks a move towards aggressive practicality. Apple is moving away from chasing the next big thing and instead focusing on making its existing hardware so powerful that it becomes the default platform for everything else. This strategy is most visible in how Apple is approaching the AI industry. Currently, tech companies are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to build massive data centers, requiring users to upload their data to the cloud. Apple is pivoting towards local compute. This approach aims to run large language models directly on the user's device, eliminating the need for an internet connection or a third-party server to process personal information. To make this possible, Ternus is overseeing a massive increase in the hardware specs of consumer devices. By integrating up to 100 gigabytes of unified memory directly into Apple Silicon, they are giving laptops and phones the capacity to handle AI tasks that previously required a server farm. This hardware-first approach offers a distinct advantage to the user: privacy. When the intelligence stays on the device, there is no need for a monthly subscription or a data harvesting agreement with a corporation. Strategically, this move shifts the competition back to Apple's home turf. If the most useful AI tools run locally, the massive data advantages held by Google and Microsoft become secondary to the physical performance of the silicon in the user's hand. The immediate roadmap under Ternus is built to support this local processing power. Rumors suggest a foldable iPhone is imminent, designed to bridge the gap between a portable phone and a high-performance workstation. Beyond the phone, he's leading a push into wearables, smart glasses and pendants with computer vision. These devices are designed to collect and process data from the user's environment in real time, all within the Apple hardware layer. This is the era of silent integration. The goal is for AI to function not as a visible chatbot, but as a background layer within the hardware itself, assisting with tasks before the user even realizes intelligence is being applied. By making the software and the silicon indistinguishable, Ternus is building an ecosystem that is increasingly difficult for users to leave. The more intelligence woven into the physical product, the more indispensable the product becomes. John Ternus is constructing a company that is structurally inescapable. Under his leadership, Apple is betting that the future belongs to whoever owns the most powerful hardware on the planet. This transition raises a critical question about the future of information. If Apple succeeds in moving the world's most powerful AI entirely offline, who ultimately controls the intelligence running within those billions of devices? Policymakers may soon find themselves facing a global intelligence network that is entirely invisible to the cloud and entirely out of their reach. We'll explore the next phase of this conflict in our upcoming episode on the encryption wars.